Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are, everybody. Thank you for joining. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to share my screen, and then I'm going to take you through a step-by-step demo of Selection Navigator and cover some of the functionality. You should see my browser with the login window to Selection Navigator. I'm going to log in. Hopefully you've all got a login now, and your delegate admins have set you up as users. So once you log into the platform, you may get this the first time that you log in, this screen with some tips on how to get started. You can tick this to don't show this again. I'm just going to leave that. And then I'm going to go into Selection Navigator, and that's going to log me into to my account. And I'm the user. You can see up on my top right of the screen, and we're using the Autoco Americas sales team as effectively it's a live active account, but we're using it as a sales team for doing tests, webinars, demos, etc., and training. What the default view is my active projects. Yeah, so these are all the projects that I've either created or someone's made me a team member where I'm a project owner, and I can change that view to look at all projects or all active projects. But I'm going to leave it on my active projects for the moment, and I'm going to click this button over on the right that says Create Project. So this is if I'm doing a brand new quote. I'm just going to call that Jason Test. I'll put today's date. It's active. At the moment, we've only got one profile, quick quote, because this part of the project and release is really to provide an ePrice replacement. As we move forward and start replacing some of the configurators like Fastall, Smart Panel and TrueNAC, we'll have different profiles here, such as fire detection systems. And I'm going to leave it in the estimating phase and click Create Project. And then this will create the project and display the project details screen. So at this screen, this will give you some general information, who the project owner is, which is myself in this case. It's active, it's quick quote, it's estimating, the company account, and this particular project account. What you're going to see here is the name of your respective businesses, which will reflect exactly what's up on the top right of the screen. We can click the edit pencil here, and we can edit, a number of those properties. But what I'm going to do first is show you how to add team and contacts to a project. So if I click on this icon, you can see up here the little people icon with team and contacts, and all of the icons in Selection Navigator do have that tooltip menu that pops up to sort of aid and provide some guidance. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've decided I'm going to add a team member to this project, right? So if I click on this Add Team Members button, you're going to see all JCI team members that are in the Selection Navigator platform. So as an example here, I'm going to search for Jason Barton. Here he is. So I'm going to check that box, and I'm going to add Jason Barton to my project. Now what that will mean is when Jason goes into, whether it's this account or another account, he will be able to see this project and look at the details. At the moment he's going to be limited to what he can see, and he won't be able to do anything because he's set to read only. But I can click this edit pencil, and I can change the privileges to say read, write, or a project owner, and save that. So you can see there, I've been moved to just read, write, and Jason's been moved to the project owner. Or I could edit that, and I can put myself back to the project owner, and Jason's now with read, write. So he can go in and view and change and edit, but he will see that in his my active projects lists. So a good example here, if one of you folks was doing a project, doing a design, and you wanted some assistance with, picking products and putting that system together, you could share that with your sales lead, and then they could go in and assist you, basically, providing you give them read-write privileges. The next thing I'm going to do is just show you how to add project contacts, right? So we've already got the two, myself and Jason Barton, which are also team members. But now I want to pick the contacts. Who am I bidding the project to? Who may be the end user and the final destination of the project? And more importantly, from an order perspective, where do I send that order? So I want to add a customer services role to my project. So I'm just going to click contacts here. Now, obviously, the first time, you probably won't have any contacts in there, so you're going to click the add button and you're going to create a new contact and a new account, right? I've already created some for the purposes of a demonstration, and in the guide that Rochelle mentioned at the beginning, it walks you through step by step on how to create new contacts and how to create new accounts. So I can search it by name, title, the account name, etc. So I'm going to just type in Fred Spark, right? So this was a made-up account that I made, a contracting company. So I'm going to click on Fred, and I'm going to add Fred to my project. So this is like who we're selling to. Now I'm going to drop down this contract role, and I'm going to not make him a project contact. I'm going to make Fred the customer, and I'm going to make him the order shipped to. So now I'm assigning multiple roles to Fred. The reason I'm doing that is when I come to the example of doing a purchase order, the more information you put in here, the more that will self-populate. If I don't designate anyone as the order shipped to, it will by default default to the bill to of the account, So if you've got product that you're ordering that you're going to be shipping to your facility, you wouldn't set a ship to role. In those instances that you may be shipping to the contractor or customer directly, you can set that up in this contract role. I'm going to add, as you can see here, Fred from ABC Contracting Company, and if I click on that, you can see it's got multiple statuses, right? It's the customer and the order shipped to. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this icon, which is the estimate details. When this screen first loads up, you'll see a number of tabs, and the first tab is just a basic overall information, which is showing you so far the cost of all the products that have been added to this estimate. And as you know, this is a brand new project. I haven't added anything at the moment, so hence why every category is 0. You should be familiar with seeing these category headings because they're an exact copy of what you currently see in ePrice today. So next I'm going to go on to the products tab here, and as you can see there's no products being added, and I'm going to just show you a number of ways on how you can find and add products. So the first thing we're going to do here is click on this add product button on the right hand side, and you'll see this comes up with a number of what we call product selectors, and they're all grouped into category. You can see from some of the panels all the way up to initiating notification, message boards, network, releasing, system ancillaries. Now, for the smaller panels, you can actually pick them, and up to the 4010. When we get into 4100U, you can pick spares, if you're doing extensions and additions to projects, but you won't be able to actually pick the panels from here because we're still, until we replace all of our configurators, we're still using Fast or Smart Panel in the case of 4100s to configure those systems. And I'll show you how we import those systems into Navigator a bit later on. So I'm just going to pick notification, and what I'm trying to do is sort of follow what I did in the guide that we created, so it should be easy to follow afterwards as a reference. Now when this first loads, this notification, this candidates table at the top is basically showing everything that we have behind this selector. So you can see up here we've got a total of 392 items out of 392. Then what we can do, we could scroll down and try and pick what we want, but with that kind of number, it can be fairly difficult. So on the left-hand side, we've got a number of filters. So in this case, I'm gonna check the first filter, and I'm going to say we don't want Buy American. As soon as I do that, we're going to have 304 candidates instead of the 392. So I'm just going to click that, and then I'm going to say circuit type, I want addressable. And you'll see these numbers are updating dynamically on the number of possible candidates. I'm going to go for the 49 series Xenon. I'm going to pick a wall mount. I'm going to pick a horn strobe. I'll go for the colour. I'll pick a red. You can see we're already down to 6 candidates now. The cover lettering, I'm going to have fire. Now the only 2 are available now is one's weatherproof and one's not weatherproof. If I was to go and say I don't want weatherproof, we're now down to 1 candidate. So that should make selection much easier. Now I'm going to click this, and I'm going to say Save Product. And here I can add another product. If I click Add Another Product, it's going to keep me in the same selector, which is notification in this case. If I return to Estimate Details, I'm going to go back to that products view. And if I add a different product, it's going to bring up the selector. So I'm going to pick an initiating device. And one of the things to note here is in the release that we're due to launch in March, you will see a quantity box here. So you'll better enter a quantity before you save the product. Just make it a little bit easier if you're working off like a riser or a bill of materials. So I'm going to pick addressable. I'm going to pick a smoke detector, right? So, and now you've got 17 candidates out of 146. And you may be thinking, well, as far as I'm aware, the AutoCall product line only has 1 addressable photo sensor, so why have I got 17 candidates? And that's because we're piecing together all the available options, with a 2-wire base, a 4-wire base, a 520 base. I can pick head only, if obviously you need a base for any detector, but there may be instances where you want to add 20, 30 smoke detectors, heads only, for spares that you're going to keep on a customer's site. So that's how you would do it. If I was to actually go down now and say the bases and specifically pick a standard base, you can see that's narrowed down to 2 options, black and white. And again, if I was to go to the colour and pick white, we've now got the one candidate. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to do Save Product. And then I'm going to return to Estimate Details. And you can see that we've got 2 lines in this view. Notice this viewing says All Products. So this is a product view, right? So this is showing you at the product level. Now I can change the quantities here. I could put 5 of those in, and I could put 10 of those in. And you can see you get a toaster message appear when those changes occur. And what we tried to do here, at this designation, you see, when we built these selectors, which we did from scratch because, the current ePrice and the current database doesn't have any relationships, right? So it doesn't know that a duct detector needs a sampling tube and an exhaust tube. It doesn't know that a smoke detector must have a base, and it doesn't know this appliance needs a cover and a mounting plate, right? But we've built all of this in here. So if you look at this current default designation, it's giving you the 49 AV audible visual appliance wall mount, and then we said the cover is red with fire lettering. But the idea of this designation is you can edit this, and we could put, for example, this could be ground floor, and I could set this one, to ground floor, and you could name it ground floor initiating, ground floor notification. The purpose of doing this, it makes it very easy to look at your device counts by area on a design, and also when we generate the purchase order, everything will be under these headings. So, for example, on the purchase order at the moment, we'll see a subheading called ground floor, and then it will list out all of the products that are under that ground floor tag. Now if I click on this information icon, because remember this is a product level, this will show me all the children or all the parts associated with that particular product choice. So you can see under this information window, we've got the mounting plate, we have the cover, and we have the appliance. So all the required parts are there. So this should make your device selection very, very easy. And if I was to drop that view down and pick notification, it's just going to show me my notification devices. Basically, any devices that were picked from that notification selector. And the same way, if I go to initiating, it's going to show me any product that was added through that initiating product selector. The fire detection BOM is going to just show me parts. So it's going to unpack all of those products and show me the parts. Okay, so that's currently one way to add product, right, is to use those intelligent selectors. The other way is what we call all products, which is a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card, like a catch-all. And what this does, this is really representing our back-end databases, which build the ePrice database with all the same categories. So they're not particularly user-friendly, but if you recall and you're very familiar with ePrice, when you go in, you can select, fire alarm, then you'll see this series of products, right? And then you've got subcategories. If anyone's ever, if you haven't just typed the part number in and you're actually searching, you can use these categories. What we've done, because these are sort of hard-coded in our back-end fire detection database, we've mimicked them into Selection Navigator, right? So if you're looking for things like, service parts or outside purchase, it's much easier to find those sort of one-off products. It was we decided not to build selectors for service parts and outside purchase because of they change quite frequently and it would be a maintenance nightmare. So this is kind of like the raw database. And under those subheadings, there's a total of about 1,400 categories. As you can imagine, there's quite a lot there, if you can see me scrolling down the screen. At the moment, they're all black because I haven't narrowed any searches down, right? And we've got a total of 1,396 parts. But for example, if I was to click service parts here, what will happen is all of these that are non-applicable will grey out, and you'll start to see products through here that are applicable. Now there's only a limited number of products, but let's just pick the B key, right? And I'm just going to save the product, and you can see that drop in to my estimate details. If I go back to my information window, you can see the service parts, along with the fire, because I've been adding fire products up until now, but that service part has gone in the service parts category. So I'm just going to go back to products here. Now, the other method of entering product is what we call direct entry. Now, you have to be in the fire detection BOM view. You'll notice these icons will change. When I go to fire detection BOM, you'll get this icon like an arrow and a doorway, and as you hover the mouse it'll say direct entry. And this is, you can think of this as like an expert mode. So, after a time, you start to remember part numbers and you want to create, a quick stocking order, you can type in a quantity. And as you start typing, so if I do A 4090, for example, dash, and I know a 9001 is an IAM, input module. I can simply, once I see the part number appear in the list, I can click that, and it will add that product. Yeah, you can see that's gone in on that row. So that's another way to enter product, and you can think of it more of a sort of an expert mode if you know the part numbers. The other way of adding product, and again it can be user-defined product, here is to So this is not something that you're necessarily going to order from us, but if you wanted to build up a quote, you may have, like a step ladder or something that you're going to buy. That was an example I had the other day. And ladders are us, and it could be $100. So it can just be an item that you add to your estimate. You can pick a category here. So I'm going to just put miscellaneous cost and save that product. You'll notice here we've already got a pink ladder in this from Home Depot already in this catalogue, and any delegate admin can actually preload a catalogue for all users of that account. So I'm just going to save that and return to estimate details. So this is just you may or may not have used it, but it's a functionality in ePrice where you can add a user-defined product, basically. And you can see that's gone in the bottom there. And again, if I look at the information tab, you'll see that $100 is now gone into the other cost as a category. Okay, so the final way of adding product is to do an import. And as I said at the beginning, this first iteration is designed to provide an ePrice replacement, so we can retire ePrice. It's very old. You're probably aware a number of people have had a lot of challenges and still challenged because of the access nightmare and the installation. So this will replace ePrice, but we're going to currently use, until we can build them into Navigator, a fast tool and smart panel in a standalone mode to configure systems. So what you're going to do now is you're going to use fast tool and smart panels, as I say, in a standalone mode. And again, the guides that Rochelle referred to, we've got a dedicated guide showing you how to create, use these tools in standalone mode. The latest versions that are on our website that you will need to download, when you save a project, will create CSV files that can be imported into Selection Navigator. So I'm just going to give you an example of importing that file. If I click on this selector here, it's going to take me up to an import file menu where I'm going to choose the file. And then I developed this I created a couple of systems in Smart Panel. The thing that's nice about Smart Panel, using it in a standalone mode, is you don't have to go in and out, build your panel and then build a transponder. You can do it all in one system. And the other thing that's really nice is when you get to the end, you can validate and you can build your 4100ES programmer file, the SBD file that you can then import directly into the programmer. So what will happen is when you save that project, it will create the SDB file and all the other configuration files needed, but it will also create these CSV files. So you can see here, I've created a main panel, ground floor, which is a 4100ES, and I did a basic audio system, and then I created a transponder, and I called it the 10th floor. And it's important to give the name of this file the name you want to give to the panel, right? So if I click this and do open, and then I'm going to check upload, I've got this message that it's exceeded, and then I'm going to upload a new file, and I'm going to pick the 10th floor miniplex transponder, and I'm going to upload that. Now I'm going to return to estimate details. Now you can see in the fire detection BOM view, this is all my main panel, and then here I've got my transponder, and this is actually showing the parts view. If I switch to the all products view, so this is a much higher level at the product level, you can see I've just got two lines, one for the panel and one for the transponder. You'll also note here, very similar to what ePrice does, this is locked out for editing. Yeah, so we can't edit that configuration in Selection Navigator. If there's any changes required or any, you've made a mistake or whatever, you would just simply click this, you would delete it, you would go back into Smart Panel, open up the project, do the necessary changes, and then when you save it, it would give you a new import file. Then you would import it back into Navigator. If I click on this information icon, very similar to what I showed you with the initiating and the notification, it will give you the parts view. The next thing is, okay, so now you've done a project, you've got your costs, and then everyone gets into that situation now and again where they need special pricing. Competition's fierce, everyone's after the project, and you want to request special pricing. Now today, you go back to your sales lead, they often want the bill of materials, and they may say to you, you can use a couple of extra % on your discount off list. What we do now is you create a special pricing request from within Selection Navigator. So to do that, you need to be in the Fire Detection BOM view, which is all the parts. Now, there's nothing stopping you submitting a special pricing request for, these 6 rows. However, in reality, and certainly in my 28 years, when a customer's come to me for special pricing, they're looking for special pricing on the overall cost of the project, right? So if you want to send everything, I've only got one page here, and it's important that you do select everything. So imagine if I'm only showing 10 records, I need to make sure that I tick everything in every view, right? Or simply increase the number of lines on the view. Yeah, so you've got everything on one page. And then I'm going to select the Select All button, that checkbox. Now everything's selected. Remember, these are non-editable because they were imported. These are currently editable. Once I submit for special pricing, everything's locked out until that request is approved or rejected. So once you've selected the product, you drop down the actions and you say special pricing request. I can't submit that step ladder for special pricing because it's not a product that we supply. So I'm going to uncheck that step ladder. Now everything else should be eligible for special pricing. And what this is going to do is bring up a simple form that you need to populate. So all the fields that you can see here in red need to have something in them. So I'm just going to throw in some numbers. I'm going to say I want 10% additional discount. I've got an 80% chance of winning. Order date is the 13th. And it's required on the 27th. So really just as much information as you possibly can. I'm going to type in, it's in Boston, it's a commercial. Now I can type anything I like in here, but I can also pick from the list. New construction. If it happened to be a phased project, you can tick that, the number of phases, estimate value and completion date. If that's unchecked, they're no longer required. Sometimes you might be going after a campus type project, and whoever's going to win that first phase is probably 100% likely to win the rest of it. I'm just going to put all 3 help, and then here, so you've got to put the email address of your sales lead, whoever looks after your account. Now, this will only accept a JCI email address. So whoever looks after your account, you're going to put that email. Once you've got all that information, you're going to simply hit the Submit Request button, and you should get a dialog box and a toaster to say it's been sent and it's been created successfully. So now I'm just going to return to estimate details. And if you noticed, these products here, right, the ground floor notification and initiating devices that were previously editable have now been changed to non-editable. The only editable product we've got left is the step ladder because, that's a user-defined product. Now what will happen is once you submitted that request, the email address that you sent that to, like your sales lead, they're going to receive an email. that email is going to contain the information that you put into that form, you know, how much discount you want, percentage chance of winning, and all the reasons why you want the special discount, the type of project. And it will also attach to that email in an Excel format this bill of materials, you know. And then the idea is that sales lead will then go and evaluate whether they can actually afford that additional discount or not. And that email, or the link in that email, is basically valid for 10 days. After 10 days, that will automatically expire, and then, you know, you would need to submit another request to your sales lead. But I don't envision this to sort of cut off communication, right? So, you know, in any type of special pricing, you'd like to think that you're already discussing this with your sales lead to the point where he says, okay, please go into Navigator and generate a special pricing request, yeah? So you can see this is an example of the email that the sales lead, as I said, you know, a brief details of that form, okay, and then the BOM attached in Excel format. Then what the sales lead's going to do is they're going to click this update request button, and this will take them to a simple web page, okay? So it's got the name of the project, the account it's come from, the discount requested, and I can simply reject or approve. I'm just going to approve this one. So, successfully submitted. And if I go into the products now and change that view to fire detection BOM, you can see we've now, the 10%'s been applied to all products in there except that step ladder. Now, I say in the March release, we're going to be changing the name of this from by multiplier, which is at the moment 0.1, which is the same as 10%. We will be changing this so it reads 10%, or whatever the percentage is that you put in the request, and this heading will say special pricing discount. The other thing to note as well, this discount field will automatically update as well. So under normal circumstances, this will just display your normal 76% discount off list, and then any items that have special pricing, this discount will increase accordingly. But this has all been applied. What I'm going to do now is go to the orders tab, and in this tab, this is where you can actually create and generate purchase orders. And as I say, you can order everything in one go, or, you know, if it's a large project and you want to do it in different phases, it may be you want the sort of first fix items you want to give to the contractor. You may just want to order things like detector bases and back boxes, etc. The only thing you need to remember is if you're ordering configured 4100 ES panels, let me just exchange that to 50 records. You do need to make sure that you don't just order certain lines, right? So where you've got the main panel ground floor, when you want to order that panel, you need to make sure you order all of that main floor panel because it's a configured system, okay? But just for the example of this, I'm going to just pick these ground floor items, right? Let's just say I just want to order those today. I can just tick the products that are relevant, and I can say, click this plus button to create orders, and I simply do create order. And then one thing you'll notice, it's created that you got the toaster message, and here under the orders table now, those products have moved from this table into here, and you'll notice we've got the red icon and it's not ready for submission, it's incomplete. Okay, so what I need to do is click on the edit pencil, and again this will bring up a form, and this is a classic example of the roles I wanted to show you. Is because I put in the Auto Core Miracle Sales Team, this is the name of the account, this populates automatically, right? If I'd set a role to customer services, this would have automatically populated with the details there. Because I made Fred Spark at the ABC Contracting Company, not only the customer, but I made him the ship to, it's automatically put Fred's contact details in there. So hopefully that makes sense. All the others will need populating. So I'm just going to put some dummy data in here just to get us in. So this can be customer services. Put Andrew Kemp. I'm just going to put my email address though, because I don't really want to send a real order, and they'll probably bill me for it if I do. So, and again here, this could be a school. Just going to put test in here. I must have something here. I thought that's something there. There you go. And then the courier. So you'll probably recognise this. Anyone that's actually created orders out of ePrice would have had to fill out the similar data to actually generate that purchase order from ePrice. So we've really pretty much copied that functionality. The only thing that's nice, this keeps a record of all the orders that you put together. Now I'm just going to save that for the moment. And you can see you get that success dialog. What I'm also going to do, I'm just going to go back, and now rather than being red and not ready for submission, you'll see that the little icon now has changed to amber and it says ready for submission. So I can actually send that purchase order at any time. So I'm going to go back in and edit. Here you've got the opportunity to make any changes to this form and information. I've got an order lines tab here, and what this does, this just gives you a view, just so you can do a visual check. These are the items that I'm going to order, okay? And then we've got another tab, attachments. So you might want to attach your own PO from your own company-generated system. You could be doing a 4100, and you've got custom layouts, and you want to attach a screenshot. So here you can add up to 5 MB. We are going to be changing that to 10 MB, and each individual file at the moment it's 2 meg, and we're changing that to 5 meg. And these are the allowed file types that you can upload and attach to the order. Any files that you choose and upload, you'll see in this grid here, and they'll be attached on the email that's sent from Selection Navigator. When you're ready to send that order, we simply do submit request. That order will be sent to the email address in that form, which is the customer services. I put my email address in just for the purposes of this demo, and it will also send a copy to the project owner or whoever is in that bill to record on the left hand side of the form. Now you can see we've gone to green, and the status has been changed to submitted. Here you can see the Selection Navigator. I didn't put any other attachments on my order. If I did, they'd be attached to this email. So the email that's going to come to go to customer services with a copy to the account owner is going to be from Selection Navigator. It's going to say purchase order from, the name of the account, that's your respective business, and it'll put the purchase order number also in that subject line. And then it will attach the PDF version of that order, and obviously you'll receive a copy, yeah. And then, it'll also tell customer services as well, oh, this has got special pricing of 10%, and, because everything that I ordered had special pricing, it's going to put an SP column in here just to highlight to customer services, okay, these in fact do have special pricing. So it makes it a bit easier on our processing side to evaluate, what orders have or don't have special pricing. And the other thing I'm just going to show you here is the estimate summary tab, and I can expand these here. And this comes back to those product categories where I had the fire, security, master clock, sound, service, parts and other, right? So here I can set different markups I could put, say, a 40% markup on the fire product, and I might want to put a much higher markup, 60% on service parts, for example. And then this will calculate the overall margin. Now, what we'll be doing in the March release, we haven't got it in this one yet, but under this project documents tab at the top, you'll be able to generate a simple quote that you can use, and that will generate in a PDF and a Word format. You'll be able to pick between the two formats, and that simple quote will use the markup values that you set here. For the time being, though, you can extract the costs, the product cost that you're paying for it, with or without special pricing, from any one of these views. So if I'm in that fire detection BOM view, I could select everything, and I can say generate Excel sheet. If I click that button, it will download an Excel version of what you see on my screen here into your default downloads directory. Well, look, thanks everybody for taking the time out, and if you run into any difficulties, please feel free to reach out to me.